Yeah. Okay. The props drilling is the process by which we pass the data from one part of the React component tree to another by going through the parts. Okay. So even though other parts do not need the data, but only helping in to pass the data to get to other component, right? That we process, we call it as props drilling. Okay, props drilling does not have a problem, but yeah, if we have a 2 to 3 levels. Okay, but in real time, what will happen, right? So if we have more levels, right? More than 15 or 20 levels, we will get.
The screen.
So in that case, what will happen?
Hello.
Okay, how about now?
Yeah, still loading.
Okay. Okay, yeah. Do you able to see the screen, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, if we have a more levels, that time it is difficult to trace the data among the components, right? Even we may get loss of data if we pass the data from one component to another, right? So what is the approach that we have or we got is we got the one central store. By using this store, by using this store, we can access the data to any of the component, right? Okay, like this, we can able to access whenever we want any data from any component, we can access from this store. And also, if any component is trying to update, right? So what will happen? This automatically, whatever the components that are registered with the store will get the updated data. Okay, I mean to say, suppose we have components called A1, right, A2, and A3, and A4. Okay, so all these components are registered with the store. Okay, so all the components may not update the data to the store. Okay, so suppose we have a component called A3 will update the data to the store. Other components will try to read the data from store and display the information. Okay, so what will happen when any of the component updates the store? Okay, automatically whatever the components that are registered to the store will get the data automatically when any component updates the store information. Okay, so this all we are going to see in our next examples. Okay, now we saw about the Redux, right? Redux is a JavaScript library. It is used in front-end frameworks like React, and Angular and Vue.js. Okay, so for each framework has its own flavor for the Redux library or Redux framework. So in case of React, we have React Redux. In case of Angular, we have NGRX. In case of Vue.js, we have Vuex. Okay, these are the inbuilt or libraries which depend on their frameworks. Okay, we can call Redux as a state management tool. Okay, so what is the state management? So whatever the components will have the state information for the whole application. Okay, the whole application state is going to be maintained in the central store. That store we call it as a Redux. Okay, and we can call this Redux is also state management tool. Okay, next, Redux was built using the architectural pattern or a design pattern called Flux. Okay, so we saw about a design pattern. So design pattern is something, what are the problems that occurred frequently in developing the software applications. So they have identified the repeated problems. Okay, whatever the pattern or the solution that they have given for the repeated problem, that we will call it as a design pattern. Okay, clear it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Next, we are going to see about the Flux. Okay, so we understand that Redux comes with a inbuilt pattern called Flux. Okay, so now we are trying to understand what is Flux. Okay, Flux is a Facebook's. Okay, this was given by the Facebook, so we call it as a Facebook's Flux architecture. Also, some of them may call it as a Fluxy and Flux. Okay, refer to the pattern. Okay, so now, okay, which is nothing but a more of a pattern or architecture rather than a formal framework. Okay. Now, what is the use of or introducing a new framework or pattern or architecture for Flux? Sorry, for the state management of our front-end applications. Okay, so first we have to identify what is the pattern that we are using prior to the Flux. Okay, so the earlier we used it to have a pattern called MV star pattern. This is the pattern that we use it to create the software in case of both front-end and back-end applications. Okay, so we have a patterns like MVC, MVVM, and MVP. These are some of the patterns that they have used to develop in both front-end and back-end applications. Okay, have you heard about the MVC framework or MVC design pattern earlier?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any idea about MVC pattern?
No.
No. Okay, fine. So we'll cover that. Okay, MVC is nothing but M is nothing but a model, right? V is nothing but a view. Okay, controller. Okay, what is the view? Any idea?
It's the one we see. It's a UI.
Yeah, correct. We call that as a view. Okay, what about model?
I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, the model represents the data. Okay. So the controller is the one which controls the whole application. Okay, I mean to say it works as a gatekeeper for this application. So if we want to perform any operation on the application, what we have to do? We have to send a request to the controller. Okay, then controller will try to update the request. Okay, so suppose I'm going to open. Okay, so this is the MVC architecture or MVC design pattern. Okay, so here you can see this is the model and view and controller. Okay, the model which manages the state of the application.
Okay.
Okay, so the model which manages the state and data of the application. Okay, so next, the view represents the display of the model in the UI. Okay, so next, the controller. Okay, the controller, what it is going to do? It is going to make, or it takes the user input and it manipulates the model, and the model, okay, once the model got updated, right, what will happen? It takes back from the controller and it updates the view based on the model.
Okay.
Okay, this way the MVC framework is going to work. Okay. So, yeah, what are the good points that we can see in MVC, right? Can you tell? We have a good separation of code, right?
Okay.
Okay, each one will have its own purpose, right? So the main idea of view is to represent the data, right, in the UI. The controller is to take the input and process it, and the model will do its data activity, and it will have the data information, and it passes or it gets the data from controller and updates, or it sends the data back to the view, and based on the updated model it is going to update the view, right?
Yeah.
So here we can see each one have its own responsibility, and we can see each has a good separation of code. and also we can say which separates the presentation from model, right? And also it separates the view from the controller. Okay, so and also everything is separated. We can perform the unit testing easily based on each separation, right? So for view we can write unit testing easily without depending on other components called controller and model, right? Okay, next. What are the bad points in MVC? Okay, the bad points. Okay, so though many of them has, okay, so sorry, in server side MVC is good. Okay, okay, what is meant by server side? So suppose if we are going to develop an API, right? Okay, in that case we can follow the MVC design pattern to develop the API. Okay, so most of the frameworks are using the MVC design pattern. Like, have you heard Spring MVC?
No.
Struts. Yeah, ASPX, right? .NET 1. Okay, these are the some of the frameworks that we are using to develop the API.
Okay.
Okay, so have you heard servlets? Studied?
Yes, I heard the name, but I don't know about it.
Okay. Okay, in server side, MVC is good. Okay, but in client side, most of the JavaScript frameworks provide the data binding support. Okay, which leads to the view. Okay, which talks the model directly with the view. Okay, so what will happen, right? So now this MVC becomes the MVVM or MVP. Okay, to front end. Okay, for front end frameworks, okay, currently or prior to the Flux, we have a Angular, right? Okay, Angular was using the framework called MVVM in order to develop the front end applications. Okay, so what is the disadvantage of MVVM or MVP we are going to see? Okay, here in case of MVVM, what happens, right? The view is directly binding to the model. Okay, so whenever we update any data in model, automatically the corresponding view is going to be updated. Even if we are trying to send any request to update the model, automatically it takes from the view and it will do it. Okay, so in case of MVVM, how it should look like, we are going to see that. Okay, you can see MVC client side. Okay, now. Okay, we have one action and one controller. In that we have multiple models and multiple views. Okay, so in real time, one model may not bind to one view, and one view can bind to a number of models. Okay, so do you understand this point? Model view binding, how it works? Like suppose I will take simple example. Suppose we are trying to develop an employees, right? Okay, we are going to show the list of employees. Okay, employee number, employee name, correct? And salary. Okay, now this is the view part, right?
Okay.
Correct, right? Now you are going to display the list of employees, right? How you have to create a model in order to satisfy this UI? Can you tell that?
What is it?
Yeah. So this is the view, right? Employee and employee number, e-name, salary. Okay, so here you will have okay, like this we have. So now in backend R, a model should be something like, right? It should be an employee object, correct? Under that you will have employee number, right? E-name and salary, right?
Yeah.
And also it should be a some list, right? Correct?
Yeah.
So yeah, in this way we have to maintain a model, right? Okay, so next, suppose if we want to display the information of employees in the UI, so what we have to do, we have to contact this model. Once this model is updated the data with the list, right, we are about to display the data, right? Understood?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the simple one. So suppose you have this UI, right? I mean to say this is the screen one, right? Like this you have 100 screens, right? 100 pages.
Okay.
Okay, so suppose some around 10 to 50 pages are interacting with this model, right? Understood? Now how is your UI will be like this? It is something like this, right? The view interacts with the model 50 times to one model, right? You understood?
Yes.
Okay. So like that, for other views, you will have different models, right? So now, if you have any issue in displaying data of screen 1, right? Understood?
Okay.
Now, assume some of the information is not proper here, right? So what you are going to do? You are going to check with this model, right?
Yeah.
Where it is failing.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. Now you identified something, right? Okay, you identified something need fix here, right?
Yes.
So what is you have given the fix. Now what will happen? So now whatever the dependent screens that are depending on this model, all the 50 pages you have to check or you have to test once. Am I right or wrong?
Yes.
Correct? Okay, to test is very difficult or not?
Yes.
Yeah. And also to understand this structure, is it easy or difficult?
Difficult.
Difficult, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, to maintain or to update anything, is it easy or difficult? So suppose I want to update or I want to introduce a new column, right? Like department, I want to keep it here. So that time what will happen? We don't know if we introduce a new column or new field, what will happen? So we don't know on which screen does it going to break, right?
Yes.
Because we are depending on 50 screens, right? 50 views.
Yes.
Yeah. To maintain and to add new features, right? These are the difficulties that we are going to face. And to test also, it is very difficult, right?
Mm-hmm.
Correct. These are the difficulties that we have in our existing MVC front end, right? MVVM or MVC client side. We have, these are the issues that we have. So the Flux is going to, introduce or going to resolve all these issues, whatever we are going to face, right, in our MVC client side. So that we are going to see how Flux is going to address these issues, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Now, how Flux is different from MVC client side, right? So, Flux is a unidirectional data flow. Okay, the data flows in one direction only. Okay, unidirectional data flow. Data flows unidirectionally. Okay, we will see what is this unidirectional. Okay, so which means data flows down. Okay, now I'm going to compare MVVM or MVC with our store, okay, or our Flux architecture. Okay, now you can see, okay, model, right? Okay, so most of the time we are going to maintain the model as a Okay, like this. Okay, right, correct. In this we will maintain the information, right? Now this model is going to change in the Flux architecture as a store, right? Okay, store. Now this model is converted to store now in the Flux architecture. Now what this store contains? Okay, the store contains the model. Okay, which means the store contains the data. Okay, the model is nothing but, you can compare with our earlier example, list of employees it will contain, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so the model can't be changed directly.
Okay.
Okay, next, it allows the subscriber. I will come to the point what is subscribers. Okay, so allows the subscribers to access the state. I mean to say, to access the model. Okay, so whatever the subscribers that are subscribed to this store, right? Okay, those only can access the data from this store, correct?
Okay.
So next, which notifies the listeners when any changes to the state occurs. Understood?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, who are all going to subscribe to this state, right? So automatically it notifies whenever any changes to the state is going to happen. Changes to the state occurs. Clear, right? Now the model becomes the store in case of the Flux architecture. Okay, this store contains the list of employees, right? Or any information, whatever that required to our application. Okay, it can have a list of employees or list of departments, all that information it contains. And the model can't be changed directly. Okay, we won't be able to change the model directly. Okay, so which allows the subscribers to access the model. Okay, so who are all going to subscribe the store, they can do it. Okay, which notifies the listeners whenever any change to the state occurs. Right?
No.
Okay, so still I am not going to cover how this Flux is going to address the issues. First I am going to the individually what are the components that we have in the Flux.
Okay.
Okay, next we have a next component we have view, right? How is view? View will be like this, right? Okay, now in case of the Flux also, view will be the same, but it has some responsibilities. Okay, what are those? Okay, which subscribes to the store. Understood this point?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why we need to subscribe to the store? Since we want to display the list of information, right? List of employees which are there in the store, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, once we subscribe to the store, we will get that information, right, back to the view. So that's why we have to subscribe to the store. and also it reacts to the store's state. Okay, which means if we are going to update any state inside of store, automatically the view will get, our view will react to that information.
Okay.
Okay. And we can say this is a stateless, right? Okay. So the state of, or the state of store information can't change directly. Okay. So okay, state can't be changed directly from the view. Okay, so directly we can't change the store information from the view. Okay, so okay, a pure function of state, which means, right, always we are sending the same set of data to the view. Okay, which means you understood. So suppose if you have a employee screen, right? So what we are going to do? So in that, it is trying to display the list of employees information, right? So always what we are trying to send the data from store to the view. We are always going to send the list of employees only, right? So it is nothing but whatever the data that we are sending to the view from the store keeps remain same, right? Only the content will change, but the structure of the information, whatever we are planning to send to the view from store, will remain same. Understood this point?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. It is something like, right, what we can say, list of employees only we are going to send. In this employees, we have employee number, employee name, and salary, right? This structure won't change, but the content inside of this will change for each property value. Correct? Up to now clear, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Next. Okay, how do we change the any UI inside of our component? Okay, so that we can do it by using the, or by changing the state inside of the store. Okay, which means suppose okay, suppose if I want to change, right, suppose I have a employee, right, employee number. So this is the input, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now if I enter the employee number 121, what will happen? We are going to display the employee of 121 information. Now if we are going to change the employee number, we have to change the or we have to re-render the UI of the employee information, right? So what we are going to do, we will maintain a state like employee. Under this, you will have employee number, name, salary. So this is our state, right?
Yeah.
Our store. So whenever user enters employee number, what we are going to do, we are going to change the state according to this employee number. Okay, so are we able to change the state of the store directly from the view? So we won't be able to change. Okay, that we are going to see now. And if any change to the state occurs, that automatically re-renders the UI, right?
Yeah.
So this we observed. Now, so in order to update the change or update or change the state of the store, first for that we have to know actions or action handlers. Okay, so by using the actions or action handlers only, the state can be changed from UI. Okay, so through action or action handlers only, the state of the store can be changed.
Okay.
Okay, so now we have to understand the next component called actions or action handlers. Okay, so earlier we have controllers, right?
Mm-hmm.
You remember, whenever I want to do an update of any viewer, right? What I'm going to do? I'm going to invoke the action or performs an action to the controller, right? So the controller manipulates the model and it sends the updates to the view. Understood?
Yeah.
Now in case of Flux, these controllers are changed to the actions or action handlers.
Okay.
Okay, just a minute.
Yeah.
Okay, now the controllers are changed from action to action handlers. Controllers are moved to, are renamed as action or action handlers. Okay, in this action, what we have in this action? Okay, so whenever anything that we are going to change in the store, what it is going to do, the view performs an action or triggers an action. Okay, based on the action, we are going to update the state information inside of our store. Okay, so how these actions are made, right? That we have to understand, right? So first one, actions are plain old JavaScript objects. Okay, so if you have worked on any MVC framework, it is very easy to understand you, but I will explain. So suppose if you take a controller, right? Okay, the controller, how we are going to maintain that? So it will have a controller like employee we will have, right? So you saw any API, right? How it will be like employee. Under that you will have edit or post, I mean to say create or delete, right? Or you can say
Yeah.
modify, right? Modify I already covered. Okay, so how we are going to identify what type of action we are going to do, right? Based on this URL, right? You understood?
Yeah.
Okay, how we use it to do? If type is equal to, I can say if operation is equal to, right, slash edit, or you can say edit,
Okay.
correct? If operation is equal to create, right?
Okay.
If operation is equal to delete, right? So based on this type of operation, we are going to update the model, right? You understood? Okay,
Yeah.
in case of edit, what we are going to update for a model? Okay, we will update the model as a status, right? Whether it is success or failure, right? Understood?
Okay.
And also we are going to maintain a data like new model. I mean to say with the whatever the data that user sends, right, that we will maintain inside of our model.
Okay.
Okay, employee name, right, comma, salary, like this, right? Yeah, suppose if anything we got for create, right, how we are going to maintain a model? Same, right, status, whether success or failure, right? Am I right or wrong?
Yeah.
In case of delete, how you are going to maintain? Status, correct, success or failure. Okay, if anything fails, you can maintain inside of error, right? Like this, right? Yeah, like this we will maintain a model. Just a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in this way, we are going to maintain the information inside of our controller, right? Based on the type of operation, we have to identify and perform the related operation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, in this way, we will maintain the controllers inside of our MVC application. Okay, now in case of our Flux, right, the controllers becomes the simple JavaScript objects, correct?
Okay.
Okay. So each object will have a key and name, right? Key and value, correct? Key value page it contains, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here in this object we must have a type key name, right? Type key name is required. Okay, so what is the use of this? Okay, by using this type key name, we are going to check what type of operation that the user is trying to perform.
Okay.
Okay, so the type should be used to identify what type of operation that we are going to perform. Okay, so the object will be like this, right? And the rest of structure is up to us. The rest of structure is up to the developer. Okay, we can maintain any structure like this. Okay, so next, how the action will be. Okay, the action object will be something like type, right? Inside of type, what is the type of operation that I am going to do? Understood?
Okay.
Add employee. Inside that, I am going to maintain something like data, right? You can have any other thing apart from type inside of this object. Okay, so I am trying to add an employee, right? So how many employees you are going to add? You can add a number of, right? You can maintain like this. Each object will contain each array. Sorry. Array of objects, how we can write data. Okay. Like this I can maintain it.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yes.
In this way we can maintain. Instead of this you will have employee number, name, salary, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now if you have any other operation, how you are going to do it? Just we have to update the type information, right?
Okay.
Correct? So something like type delete employee. Correct?
Okay.
Okay, delete employee. For this, which employee are you going to delete? Correct?
Yeah.
That we can maintain like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can pass like this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so in this way, we will maintain the action of action handlers in replace of the controllers, right? Okay. So what this action is going to do? Okay, it is going to ask it is going to send the data back to the store. Okay, so what will happen whenever we are going to update the or add employee, right? So what will happen after adding employee? We have to update the store status, like whether the employee insertion was successful or not, right? So it updates the store based on the type of action.
Okay. So it updates the controller only?
Sorry?
It updates in the controller itself, or?
So it updates the store based on type of action.
Okay.
Correct. So based on type of action. So add employee will update the status as success. Delete employee will update like deleted successfully, like that, some information.
Okay.
So suppose if you have a type called get employee, right? Okay, so the get employee must return a data of employee information, right?
Yeah.
So that employee information will update in the state.
Okay.
Understood, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this action handler will be something like, okay, action handler is something like a simple function, okay, which contains a set of operations that it is going to perform. Correct?
Okay.
So,
yeah.
So now always this function will take an action object and the latest state or the store what it contains. Okay, like I can say function employee or employee ops, right? Okay, let me
Okay. Paper.
Go there. Go.
Okay, so it contains like function employee ops. So the function must take the current state, right?
Yeah.
And also it contains the action. Okay. So what is the action contains? Action is a plain object, right? Plain JavaScript object. Inside of that, what it contains? Type, right? Are you following?
Yeah.
If action dot type is equal to, correct?
Yeah.
Add employee. So what we are going to do? We have to add an employee and we have to return an updated state. Correct? So if get employees, right? If action dot type is equal to get employees.
Okay.
So what we are going to do? We have to update a store by saying list of employees, right?
Okay.
So once the store updates, what will happen? Automatically, the corresponding view, whatever registered to the store, will have the latest employees information. Correct?
Yeah.
So now is it easier or a difficult one compared to the MVVM?
Yeah, it's easy.
It's easy, right? So you can say each unit is reusable, right?
Mm-hmm.
Correct?
Okay.
We have a store separately, view separately, and controllers are separately. I mean to say action handlers. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
Each unit is repeatable. Simply we can repeat, right?
Yes.
Correct? Each unit is extensible. I mean to say, suppose we have a department scheme, right? Correct?
Okay.
Now store contains employees. Now what I can do? I can add a departments, right?
Okay.
And also you can update the same view by taking the departments and display that information, right? We can do that, right? Each unit is extensible, correct? Yeah.
Okay.
So controllers action. Suppose we have a new department scheme, right? So we can create a new function, correct?
Yes.
By saying department operations.
Okay.
Correct? Add department, delete department, like that we can do it, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, okay, each unit is, we can do unit testing very easily, right? Whatever the model you will have, it is a simple object, right? This you can test easily, right? Each unit is testable. You will have a view. This view you can test easily. We have a action handler. It is a simple function, right? Here.
Yeah.
Yeah, this we can test easily, right? Without depending on any other one. Okay,
Yes.
so in this way, it resolves all the outcomes or problems, whatever we have in MVVM.
Okay.
So once we saw the examples, right, whatever I told, right, you can easily understand them.
Okay.
Okay, so tomorrow we will start with the example. Okay, so
Okay.
I will share this video. And, okay, so I will give one YouTube link.
Okay.
Are you listening anything?
No.
Even case also. Okay, so you can go through this video, right? It is very, I think first 20 minutes is enough. Okay, so I will ping in WhatsApp that video. Okay, so I will share this video, and you just go through this video for tomorrow. You will have a good understanding with our example. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, tomorrow we'll meet with by creating our first example on Redux. Okay?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, then, yeah, thanks.